All right. First time with the Coucing session officially.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. Just
yeah.
wait for a few
Yeah, sure.
seconds. Enjoy some music, enjoy something to drink.
Oh yes, by the way, cheers.
Cheers.
At the first Coucing session.
Yeah. I'll put mine here so we don't spill it all.
Well, I get it here because why not?
Yeah.
And I need it. Should we start anyway?
Yeah, maybe I should turn this off.
Just slower.
So, well, if we might get copyrighted.
Oh, we already have someone join us. Thank you, by the way, because it's our first experiment, so we're just kind of trying to figure it out. And it was just a chance to kind of meet together and share a bit like what we are doing. Just all guys, just to have fun. So that's why we have some cola. That's
enjoy the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the theme. It's well, we still don't have a couch, but that's kind of the mood. Like we call it couch session, like with a couch, because we want to have like kind of relaxed chat in the evening. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we should start by introducing ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
You want to take it away?
Well, I'm Lorenzo. I don't know if you saw me in some stories, maybe the last times. Me and Alex, we met here in Frankfurt. We found some common interest. Yeah, common start. Start first with clothing, and then with all the rest. I can say, and together we launched at Astra. And
yeah,
go ahead.
So yeah, I'm Alex, and for you who don't know me, I am the other part of this duo. I'm from Denmark originally. You're from Italy, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And we're both live right now from Frankfurt, where we live.
Yeah. There's some meatball spaghetti thing going on.
This one.
Yeah, this one.
That's perfect. All right. So we don't really have much planned for like a structure of how this is going. Of course, some questions has come in throughout this week, and if you have any, feel free to put them in the chat right now. But we had an overall theme in mind.
Yeah, sure. We wanted to start with a bang. Or with 5 Ps.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to explain what the 5 Ps are?
Yeah, so we wanted to start with something that we discussed about and we kind of experienced directly also in the last months. And I thought it was one of the genius concepts from Alex. By the way, if you don't know, he wrote some very cool books. And one of the concepts that kind of struck me, and it's really simple and genius, is this 5P. So what is that?
It's a way of framing a better future than if you did not do this. So
you know, like in Italy, we have like also that 5P, but it's related to food. Just
pizza, pasta.
Exactly. You shouldn't combine them together, otherwise you get fat. So guys, don't put pizza, pasta, or potatoes together like in the same dish, otherwise too many carbs. But that's not what we're talking about. It was just a sprinkle.
Maybe the future could also have some diet plans.
Yeah.
But the way we talk about the 5 Ps today is that prior planning prevents poor performance. I'm going to repeat that one. Prior planning prevents poor performance. And this simply just means that the more you can plan ahead, the more you can schedule out, the more you can think forward, the better you are in the outcome of that scenario. At least the better chance you have.
Yeah. And we wanted to start with this because actually before coming here to do this live, this kind of podcast situation, we went through a month of actually really Coucing session. It was a real thing. I mean, Alex actually went through like a program with me. I was his kind of pupil, and he put me through these winning stacks, these steps to create some winnings every day and create your momentum, your routine, and so the 5 Ps were like really some integral part of this because also from this experience, actually, you can really see the difference from like when you plan ahead, and we have some examples of small things that you can plan ahead, so to make sure that you don't fall back into maybe wrong habits, accidental things, and so one of the examples, I will digress a bit, but was about meal preparation. So I think it's always good to. We were talking about food, by the way.
Already circling back.
Yeah. So one of the small wins we discussed about during this program was about also take care of yourself. Starting also the choice you make with the food you eat, and most of the times it happens. You work, you're hungry, you grab the first McDonald's, first thing you cheap thing you find, and it's often like that, and just keep cycling. And it's so easy to avoid this by just planning ahead. So preparing your meal, it's a really small thing to do actually. It takes really small effort, but it already creates a new habit in you, and it really prevents poor performance. In this case, it's when you hunger strike and you have no options and you just choose the worst one, because come on, you want something fast, ready, and cheap.
And McDonald's is just around the corner.
Exactly, it's cheap, delicious.
It's like it's like the dying of the like undying words. I don't think we will ever forget this one of Mike Tyson, who says everybody has a plan until they get punched in their mouth. And it's the same thing with these planning ahead, right? You can have a plan on going a diet or cutting down sugar or whatever, but if you didn't really plan it out, then the clock strikes lunchtime and you're hungry as fuck. And what do you do when you're hungry? Like, you're not thinking rationally, so you might take the easy step and the easy way out, which 7 out of 8 times that's probably McDonald's, or at least where I come from, that was the go-to.
But also here, by the way, so that's so close. But exactly, like, so a small thing, like just planning ahead, like meal preparation, prepare your thing, it already prevents this kind of incidents. And it's just a small example, but it can, it can be applied to so many things. And I find it genius, this just this simple phrase. Prior planning prevents poor performance. So easy to remember, and sometimes really helps to find the better way in some situations. And
one way personally, and I think you can relate a little bit, is coming to another country. Both of us, as we told you, come from other countries and now live abroad. And one thing I did not really do much of before coming here. The people who know me from my personal life would maybe laugh now that I tell that I tend to be a bit spontaneous, which means that if I have an idea, I just go for it, and that's fun. But it also may lead to some struggles down the road that I could have avoided if I had planned ahead. In Germany, and this is a free one for all of you who are thinking about moving here, come. But you need to know that in Germany you need physically to show up places. For instance, if you move apartment here, you need to physically go to the government place or whatever and tell them that you're now moving from this place to another one. Didn't know that before I came here. You can't pay with your money everywhere. Like on the card, also on the phone, you need to have cash. And I thought that was a thing in the past. But no, they like that too.
It's really one of the things that, for example, it's one of the disappointment also of moving in a place that you imagine a certain way, but because probably you were not ready or you didn't prepare yourself, also with some research, you discover being different. So, for example, the bureaucracy, it's kind of heavy, and exactly it looks like something that should be in the past. But there's the kind of difficulties you encounter when you just dive yourself in some situation, but without
and prior preparation. That, like, we can take the easiest thing to think about when we talk about this, which is for every one of you out there who are studying or has been, which I assume is all of them. If you've ever had to, let's say, attend a class where the teacher asked a question, did you ever do this and raise your hand, or were you more like the type who just, please don't look at me,
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Prior
Why are you talking
preparation.
about me?
Right, yeah, well, I was the second one too. But prior preparation might have prepared you literally for when the teacher would have picked you either way, because those assholes, sorry, they picked everybody who did not pick their hands up. And if we were prepared for that, wouldn't have meant so much. The same with tests or exams or whatever comes later on. Yeah, and it's the same thing we also talked about the other day, and we've had an article about as well also. If you haven't read, you can go to Substack, and Per Astra magazine is where we also publish articles. The other day we read about morning routines. We also posted like my routine, or at least the routine I try to have every day the other day. And like a big thing in having, for me, the best possible day is planning for it. That's why if you talk to a lot of coaches out there or people who are successful in X, Y, and Z, they will tell you that the best day starts the evening before. And that is meal planning, that is picking out the outfit, that is preparing whatever may be needed for tomorrow. Because the thing is, when you wake up at 5 in the morning, you don't want to get out of bed. Nobody wants to get out of bed. Of course, some people are more motivated because of projects or the life they have, but nobody, when they wake up at 5, feel like getting out of bed. So that's why you need to be prepared for when that situation comes.
Right. Also about, like, for example, clothing preparation. That's something, for example, I learned from you, and I remember we were having actually this kind of conversation on video call, and you said that also, you know, I maybe I complimented you, like, because you look every time very sharp, and you said yes because yes, also today, by the way. I don't know if you noticed the difference. I didn't plan ahead, and he did, most probably. But yeah, that's sometimes also these kind of things that they're so simple tricks, but they make you really more ready in certain situations for the next day. And also, like, if you struggle also, like, to kind of exactly look kind of sharp and sleek all the time, like preparing, like, also the night before could be like sometimes the way to make things just easier and make them work.
Yeah, and by the way, let's stop for a moment. We do see you out there. We can see Lempi is here, Camilla's been here at least. Big Simmer is here. We do see you out there, and we will get to the questions. Thank you for them. In the end, we'll summarize it all.
Really some questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll get to you. We don't ignore you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much. So yeah, it's a big plan, and the thing is, it's never fun to actually do the planning, to actually do the preparing. Of course, if you're planning to go on a trip for 3 weeks to Hawaii, that might be a little bit more fun than planning out what outfit you are wearing tomorrow. But the thing is, if you ask yourself, and do this exercise with me for 1 second, which part of your life are you thinking about the most? Is it the past? Is it the now? Or is it the future? Just think about that for just 5 seconds. The past, the now, or the future? Now, most likely, and this is most of the society we have right now, they are thinking about something they did in the past that they are either proud of, which is a good thing, but it could also be something they beat themselves down about, which is, I mean, we should all learn from our mistakes, but you can't really change it, so why spend so much time there? So that's the first big one. And the second big one is, if we are thinking ahead, could also be positive. I'm looking forward to the 3 weeks trip to Hawaii. By the way, I'm not going if anyone is. I'm available for these 3 weeks. But it can be also negative, like, oh shit, what's going to happen when I have this phone call with my manager? Or my girlfriend just texted me, she wants to talk when she gets home. Wonder what's wrong. So we spend a lot of time in the past we can't change, and in the future we don't know about. We spend very little time in the now. So if we invest the now in a better future, because we can't do anything about the past either way, that way we, as we say all the time here, we plan ahead for the best performance. And that's really what we should think about. It's never about what you want right now. It's about what you want the most. And what you want the most should be for you to be happy tomorrow, for you to be happy in the future, for you to be the best version of you in the long run. Yeah. And sometimes that comes with sacrifice. But if the sacrifice is you to put out the clothes for tomorrow or do the dishes before you wake up or whatever it is, in my honest and humble opinion, that's a small sacrifice in a bigger picture. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. That's. I just want to say, like, this is a bit like probably a demo of like the session we had. Also, was like full dance of these kind of little pieces of knowledge, and they were really thought provoking. So yeah, actually, it's nice that you can share also this. And I was also thinking actually when you said like.
What did you think? Like.
No, I think the examples you mentioned, for example, in the past, a lot, and also, for example, yes, maybe probably some worries in the future, what's going to happen, and this kind of also sometimes kind of cloud also your thinking, in the present you're too worried sometimes, then, and you can't really focus on, what should focus on, makes sense.
I can give you another example. This might also be a provocative one. But that's the name of the game. That's also, we posted a post today that said to be or not to be provoked, right? And the name of the game today is that if you want to have people's attention, you have to poke something. Because people are just scrolling or walking past or whatever. People have their own lives, and today more than ever. So if you want them to listen, you gotta push some buttons. That being said, I'm not here to push too many buttons, but this story, this way of thinking is a fun one. So, thinking about sex, for a man at least, the entire time leading up to having the moment, thank you, with this girl is about, oh, it's gonna be good, oh, I don't want to fuck up, oh, wonder if I can last more than 30 seconds this time, right? So we're thinking ahead. The moment is over, which for some is faster than others. We are thinking back and thinking like, either, man, I did good, which I rarely do, or we're thinking, I could have done better, right?
Yeah.
In the moment, like when it's actually happening, as a man, you're still thinking ahead. You are actually not in the moment enjoying it. And I'm not saying 10 out of 10 times. I'm saying 9 out of 10. And it's because you're thinking about what we all like when it's done as well, like in the moment. You're thinking about how can I make her happier if you do it right. You're thinking about, oh, I have a cramp. You're thinking about everything else than being in that moment. And as many wise men before us have said, life is about sex.
Oh, okay.
But sex is about power. And it's stupid when you think about it. Because if you think ahead all the time, or think of being somewhere else or something you should have done, or shit, I forgot coffee today, or my kids in the kindergarten, or whatever. Instead of thinking of now, wonder how many possibilities you might lose.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I mean, I can relate myself. I have like the day clutter with many small thinking, but not like the real meaningful ones. And that's because for me, it's sometimes lack also of like mentioning about planning. It's also like lacking of goal or like something that really drives you. And for me, for example, in the past, well, my background, there was art and things like that. But they guided me a lot, some decision growing up, for example. Avoiding some situation or avoiding to follow some other paths and stick it to one that for me was more meaningful, and it gave me also something back. So it's planning and purpose, I feel, and that kind of help you to navigate all this clutter in the mind and kind of figured out what is also meaningful in the present. Yeah, that's not an example I expected. By the way, we kind of wrote a kind of script. This is also like a format we are kind of experimenting right now. But now we are just talking very, very freely, and I don't know if you have also feedback. The few guys that are following at the moment, we also want to like not bore you. We wanted to bring some knowledge or some interesting conversation, but also if you have feedbacks, not just question, but also opinion or things that may also engage more, I think could be also very nice. So we can kind of also adapt the format to make something very, very fun.
Yeah, I mean the entire idea behind whatever we're doing right now and this very thing at Astra is that so many people out there are claiming that they are coaches and they want to help and we can change something or we can make you better or whatever. And I'm not saying all of them are fake or fop. Like it's just not all of them that actually want this. My experience is that people actually like making money a bit more than helping people. And we're being as honest as we can be about how far along in the program and in the business we are. That's why we are openly saying right now that bring the feedback you have, because that makes us grow, that makes us better.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And if we get better at helping whoever wants to follow. And as one of the first videos we made said, was that as long as there's one guy out there, one girl out there that needs a hand, that could use an advice, as long as that is the case, we're going to keep doing. But to reach that guy, we might need your help. So feel free to bring the feedback either directly here on Ad Astra or privately to anyone if you have any. Yeah. And it speaks also quite good into the next one actually on the timeline we wanted to talk about, which is when you want to try this 5 Ps, prior planning prevents poor performance, your friends might laugh at you. Hell, your family might laugh at you. And that, at least for me, that's been my entire life so far. It can hold you back and it can make you feel like that this adventure that you are trying to get on isn't worth it. Because if it makes people laugh at me more than the feeling of me growing, then I am not feeling confident that this is the right thing. And this has happened personally for me for how old am I now? Forever. And I'm just saying, I have this quote, and it's again provocative: pick your friends. And I'm not saying that you can't use your friends who don't support you. Friends are, in my opinion, many different things. I have tons of friends who I enjoy taking a beer with whenever I do go out and drink. I have few friends who support me in my goals and my future and who asks me what am I planning and how can they help, and it's just a different case. And if I listen to the people who are laughing at me and at my ideas, I wouldn't be here today. And I think peer pressure and the fear of not being cool or fitting in is something that at least a lot of the youth, the young people out there, or anybody actually on social media should have to take into consideration. So when I say pick your friends, I'm not saying that I am particularly good at it or I should pick yours. I'm just saying maybe you should reconsider who is actually on which level of friendship with you.
I have also an interesting example back into like the sessions we had. So and circling back to the beginning, so we are talking about meal preparation, such a stupid example, I know. I'm Italian, I like food, so we still talk about. But for example, one of the things I had to do, like in this kind of program, was also to kind of share also the progress, the things I was trying to, the wins, the starting wins. And one of this was this meal preparation, so trying to avoid to eat regularly, but prepare something at home. And I shared some stories of what I was preparing, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, of the people that follow me, and they're probably, laughing at me. And I was a bit shy about that. I was feeling this peer pressure because I felt a bit ridiculous, right? A bit like, come on, God, what are you trying to do? But I was very surprised that just this very simple thing, I got some friends, exactly those friends that I thought they would be laughing at me. They reached out to me and they said, "Oh, by the way, I saw your stories. I started now to prepare also my meal, and it feels better." You know, and that was for me like amazing just to see. Also, sometimes how just doing the right thing or things sometimes better. Yeah, sure, you might have also the laugh, but also you can have really some positive impact where you also don't expect. I didn't expect this from the friends. And by the way, we were just meeting last weekend, and this girl, she told me the same. I'm still doing meal preparation thanks to your stories. Wow, like, and it's a stupid example, right? But sometimes also like maybe it can help to think how to avoid the pressure. Sometimes it's also in our mind more than what it is actually. And if we kind of let ourselves do the thing, you know, allow ourselves to do the thing, sometimes we may have also some unexpected feedback, unexpected results, unexpected impact with the people around us. So yeah, I mean that was pretty surprising.
And the hidden message in that is that you never know who you inspire.
Yeah, right.
Right. We are all going through life for the first time. Nobody's tried any of this before. And we might say to ourselves that I don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm not in control of what happens here, and I want to be better here. But at the same time, someone could be looking at you and thinking, oh, I wish I did more of that, or I wish I had this, or oh, that's a good idea, I might try it, for instance, in this case. So regardless of what other people might think, it is actually more of a story you're telling yourself than what is happening. And that's the case, right? Have you ever had, I'm sure you have, I know I have, and I'm sure all of you have, had an instance where you've seen something, you have experienced something, and then you hear the same story from a different part, like a different party who also saw this, and it's not the same story? You hear the same thing told from a different perspective, and it's not what you experienced? Have you ever had that before?
I'm kind of thinking some examples.
I can give you one right away.
Okay.
Yeah. I am, whenever I'm at home in Denmark, I visit my mom all the time, and she and I have some interesting conversations every now and then. And I cannot tell you how many times I thought I said something, and she heard me say a totally different thing. So when she argues back, or comments back, or reacts to something, I am left sitting there thinking, where did that come from? I didn't say anything like that. And the reason for this, because it's not her fault, like, no matter how much I want it to be her fault and not my fault, because mom, it's not her fault, it's just she experiences what I'm doing and saying through her lenses, like through her eyes, which means that whatever she sees out there, she is analyzing that through her own experiences. Which means that what I'm saying to her might mean one thing. If you're listening to the exact same, it might mean a different thing.
Yeah, sure.
And this can be because of cultural differences. It can be because of upbringing, parenthood,
different
school,
point of view.
Yeah. Religion, like a lot of different things. And it's just to showcase there's not one truth. There are many truths.
Yeah, so sometimes it kind of makes sense also to let yourself allow yourself, because sometimes exactly the truth you have in your mind might not be the only truth, and maybe sometimes exactly like what do you think your friends, for example, by going back to the same example, might think of you, maybe can be not really true. Maybe they have like, I have also like experience today. So I do another job also during the day, and there was a thing today, like some kind of feedback session, and I thought I was like kind of not doing so great, in my opinion, in some areas, but the feedbacks I got were all positive. For example,
Today?
Yeah, it was exactly. Thank you. And so for me, it was also kind of surprised, but it was also some things I had more like I overthought at that moment, and but I realized the people from outside actually they didn't see that way, and some of the things that for me were real were not real in the big picture. So yeah, could be also kind of an example of
Just before we started this live stream, I have a ritual I go through before I'm on camera or before I talk in front of people and all this.
Yeah.
And I said to Lorenzo, okay, I might look like an imbecile for 5 minutes, doing my thing, looking insane.
Yeah.
And when I was done, Lorenzo told me, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I actually made kind of fun in the beginning. I was like, okay, that looks hilarious. It was, to be fair, but
I'll show you what it was later on.
Yeah, maybe. But it was very cool, very powerful. Actually, I could see from you, the energy you got from this exercise, and also the fact you yourself just again allow yourself to be a bit like clowny or like just ridiculous in a way, but just keep doing, and it also changed also my perception of
Sure.
Yeah, I just respected. What? It was ridiculous, but also kind of powerful. And I was like, wow, damn! It's I can see why you're doing that. I can see it working. So yeah.
Some of you have maybe worked with me earlier in my career, and some of you have maybe had the message received by me that said, hey, do you have the time to come in and talk on Wednesday? Or when in this week do you have 10 minutes to come by the office so we can have a conversation? And 11 times out of 10, when this message has left my phone and has been received by yours, you are thinking, fuck. What did I do? What is he mad about? What's going to happen? Do I have a job tomorrow? Whatever's going on, right? And I might have only said, hey, do you have a minute to talk? And this just, it just proves the point that we jump to conclusions way before we need to. We had some kind of plan, but we printed actually, but we were supposed to have some questions that we collected over the time, but you printed only our questions. But
let's take the one from.
No, exactly. Let's jump.
The first one, it says, what tools have helped you maintain focus related to the 5 Ps?
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
You want to start?
Maybe you want to start. I don't have tools, so let me think.
I think when I mention a tool or two, you will be like, okay, I also do.
Maybe.
Alright, so one tool I do myself is the in-your-face reminder, which
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
In my apartment, in my kitchen, I have this whiteboard where I have written down what I want to do every day to feel like I've been productive. And that means that every day when I go to the kitchen, and I do this multiple times a day because I am addicted to energy drink, I see this whiteboard and I see all the things that I have not crossed out yet for Monday or for Tuesday or whatever it is. And that reminds me, in my face, that's why it's called in your face reminder, that, hey, Alex, you promised you wanted to do this. You haven't done it yet. Get your ass out of that couch and do whatever it's needed. Besides this whiteboard, I have a picture of Harvey Specter. And if you don't know who Harvey Specter is, watch Suits. Everybody should have watched Suits by now. At least that's my religion. I'll die on that hill. Harvey is the best character on earth. Watch it and it'll all make sense. But I have a picture of him besides the whiteboard. And it's a picture where he looks at me, and the quote says, the only place where success comes before hard work is in the, I don't know what exactly it is, but it just reminds me in my face that, hey, Harvey says you need to do this. And that's a good tool I use myself.
Yeah, you have also a whole wall in the office also with faces of people you admire. And there was also one of episodes of our session also pick up your heroes, or the people you look up to,
Mm.
and print them and make them look at you. And when you're like confronted with decision, think about them, like how they would like look at you, or how they would judge you, or what they would do in your same shoes. And sometimes it kind of helps you to kind of find the focus again.
And one big thing from my point of view is that I print all these stuff. So I have my physical whiteboard, I have a physical picture of Harvey, and as you say, in my office, I have physical printed pictures of 10 people I admire in life. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Matthew McConaughey, just to name a few. And the thing is, because it's printed and it's always there, I'm always faced with those things. And the way I use these 10 people I admire is that whenever I have half an hour, or whenever I feel, shit, what do I want to do, or I don't feel like doing it, in my mind I make up a scenario where I am having a meeting with these 10 people, and I'm asking, okay, so thank you for joining me today, guys. I have this agenda. I have half an hour now before I am meeting at my work. What can I spend this half hour on? That would be the most productive way, the thing that I would like to do the most, like in the future. And then I just go around mentally, Arnold Schwarzenegger, what do you say? Thank you. Joe Rogan, what do you say? Thank you. And then I just walk around, and most likely one of those 10 inputs that I make up, but comes from them, is a better thing to use my time on than what I would have thought of myself. And the big reason why I print it out is that, because I've had a lot of questions before, hey, I'll do that on my phone, or I'll do that on my iPad or laptop or whatever. But if you do it on what do we call it, a device, you throw the device away.
Probably.
You close the app.
Yeah.
If
it's an alarm, just to mention the 3 alarms.
You can put the alarm on
and snooze it, right?
You snooze it.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it physically. I need to have it. I know that David Goggins, is that his name? The insane guy who runs on broken knees.
Yeah, exactly.
Powerful man. I know that when he went through his journey, also had physical notepads on his mirror with quotes that were to remind him of what he actually wanted in life. So if you don't take advice from me, just take it from him.
Okay, so read the book. Can't break me.
Yeah, Unbreakable, I think it's, I don't know, one of those.
Can't hurt me. Can't hurt me, see.
Third time is a charm.
By the way, also the 3 alarms, where like also the on your face thing comes from. It's like also a book, maybe we can recommend. It's called The 3 Alarms. It's very simple actually book, but has these actionable steps you can do. Well, the author of the book uses alarms that you can snooze quickly. This is more like pro version, like the on the walls that you can't really remove so effectively. But the principle is kind of similar, on your face, like kind of reminder, and
Yeah, and the thing is, I know that you can also just throw away paper or break your whiteboard or whatever.
Or just
throw
if you
But if you went the distance to actually print it out and put it up, I am sure you are way further ahead than the guy who didn't do any of that.
Right, because
it takes more
effort.
Sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of effort, we have one more question from him.
Sure.
How would you assess your progress so far in 2025?
Oh, that's a very good question. Thank you. I think it was one of the questions we wanted to ask. Well, we have things going on. It's like just a simple spreadsheet where we month by month right now we decide what are like the goals for the month. Like we pick 3, and the thing we make it both, so we are both we can make each other accountable, and at the end of the month you have a picture of what you actually accomplish compared to the goals you had in mind, or how far off you went, and so that's also a way to keep track of the small improvements, and how we structure, and it comes from that video, probably you share on Instagram sometimes, you know, the goals of the year. So maybe you
Sure.
you want to mention. So that's the goals of the month, each month. But we have also goals for like for April. Yeah. So it gives you a bit more like bigger picture, bigger perspective, and so what you aim to achieve from here to 3 months, and then also what you want to get like in a year. So that's kind of the breakdown, and by the end of the year, at least you should have a track record of what you actually accomplished, and a reminder also kind of on your face of what you really want to do, what are the steps you want to move forward to actually end the year with this kind of feeling of winning the year somehow.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll get back to that winning the year.
Yeah.
One of the first videos I put up here. But I want to real quick address what we did about the spreadsheet we have. Because I think it's a good idea for everybody. So if you have a friend out there who you trust and who's actually a friend who cares about you, pitch this idea to him. Because there's a difference, again, I have mentioned it before today already. There's a difference between a friend who is there for you and who wants to, be your buddy when everything is good, and a friend who wants the best for you. So me and Lorenzo, for instance, every time we set a goal and we get to the end of that deadline, let's say we had a goal for January, by the time we get through January, we might remind each other, hey Alex, you set this goal, I can see that you're barely working on it, what's going on, champ? Hey, you promised yourself you would work on this. And it's not hard when a friend does that. That's love. That's literally what friends are for. They are here to make you the best version of yourself, right? So use a friend for the spreadsheet. I can only recommend it. What we did was that in January, we made goals for January. We also made goals for the first quarter of the year, which was April. And then we made overall big goals for the year. And of course, we keep each other updated. So whenever something happens, for instance, one of my goals is that I want to read all the books I have back home in my closet. And whenever I finish a book, I just update the number on the spreadsheet. And that way Lorenzo can give an update on it, and obviously also myself. And it feels good every time I make the number bigger, right?
Yeah.
Then when a month is over, we go through them and we're like, okay, so we need still to work on this because we didn't quite finish. And what is the next month's goal? And this way we keep on having goals, because sometimes what happens is that we want to lose a bit of weight. But what is a bit of weight? When did we reach that goal? And what happens when we reach that goal? Do we just go back to eating McDonald's every day again? That defeats the purpose of the goal in the first place. So we need to think about why we had the goal as well, and what happens after the goal. So how is it going so far? At Astra, I think personally, I would say that we are further ahead than I would have expected. When we wanted to launch this coaching business, I did not think that 6 weeks later I'd sit here live, because it's making videos for myself had been a bit of a step I needed to get over, and now with this practice I've had, this makes me feel pretty okay. So I think we are going further ahead in this than I thought we would. Obviously, there's far to go yet, but
well, we still have a lot to go. Like we have like some goals, some ambitions but that's also like it's a really interesting step. Also, this kind of moment together, also to and it's always like a little result when you kind of throw things out and they become more real. They're not just inside, So
and to return to the how to win the year, the very first video I threw up on at Astra, I think it was, because I was so excited that I actually I understood the idea. Just to summarize real quick, whenever you see a video online and you're like, okay, I understand the message, but I don't really get how I'm able to do that in my everyday life. How can Tony Robbins, Jordan Peterson, Simon Sinek, all these great guys speak about such great things, but none of us actually get better by listening, right? That's because we need to actually do something about the knowledge we gain.
Sure.
Tony has a famous saying where he says, knowledge isn't power, it's potential power. and Steve Bartlett, I think his name's Steve, the guy from
Microsoft?
no, no, the guy he's on the British Shark Tank now, and he's SoMe marketing genius.
Okay.
The diary of the CEO, that guy. Anyway, he also says that it's not about gaining power, it's about what you do with that power.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so totally true, because the thing is, this video I saw about winning the year, it was so easy applicable. I saw a video for 30 seconds and I planned out from there on my year.
Mm-hmm.
So 2025 right now is way more exciting than anything I've tried before. And we are in, what, week 6, week 7?
Mm-hmm.
So winning the year is about planning and no shit.
Mm-hmm.
Prior planning prevents poor performance.
Mm-hmm.
So here's just a quick rundown. You have to find the one big overall goal or mission for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because every year, if you want to win life, you have to be able to look back and say, in 2016 I did this, and in 2017 I did that.
Mm-hmm.
I quit smoking, I joined the gym, I got a new job, whatever. You don't need to remember exactly what you did last Wednesday. Well, you need to remember that in 15 I quit smoking, or whatever it is. So that you need to have one overarching
Mm-hmm.
mission or goal.
Mm-hmm.
Mine this year is this right here
Mm-hmm.
at Astra. Then besides that, you need to make mini adventures.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Jeff, this guy who had this, Jesse Isler, sorry, he talked about having 6, that his friend had 6 mini adventures throughout the year. And if you just simple math, 6 mini adventures, 5 years, that's 30 adventures you've had that you might not have had if you didn't plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
30, imagine having 30 things you can talk with your friends about next time you see them. Or just 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about, I was out drinking last Friday, or my friend came over to play video games, or that, because that happens all the time. I'm talking about specific things you wouldn't do normally. And so far this year I've had 4, which means that I'm 4 ahead of what I've usually done. And whenever I get to speak to my friends, which is rare because I'm living in a different country, I now have 4 big things in my opinion that I can bring to them and like tell them excitingly about. So that's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be something that costs a lot of money.
Yeah. How was the stadium?
Yeah, I went to watch Eintracht Frankfurt play live in here in Frankfurt, Vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great experience. I went alone, so it's also a bit intimidating, but you learn a lot about yourself when you go to events alone. Also, if you ever plan out moving from your city or to a different country, you need to learn this shit.
Yeah, sure.
There's not a lot of people who you know, so if you're waiting for someone to pick you up and go into the cinema, you're going to wait a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the football match was great. Adventure in Stuttgart was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah, went to a main tower here in Frankfurt.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know shit about Frankfurt, join your club. I didn't know anything before moving here, but apparently we have skyscrapers.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought? And I went up to a skyscraper, actually with one of my really good friends, Big Zimmer, who's in here with us in the chat. No, it was with my brother, but it's because I consider him my brother as well.
Uh-huh.
So shout out. And I wouldn't have done all these things if I didn't plan ahead for them. Because then, you know how it goes. All of a sudden, it's Friday. And what did you do this week? The same as last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll do it next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't do it. And this is just to say that, I'm not saying that you are bad at anything if this is happening to you, because it happens for all of us. But if you plan prior to perform, it might not happen this way. I'm certainly happy that I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Question time?
Yes, if you have other questions, but we collected only from Big Zimmer.
Because we have 10 minutes more, and then we also gotta go. We did get a question earlier this week from Rasmus, another friend from Denmark, about, his question is quite interesting. He asked, so what habits do millionaires have?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had the exact same response physically when I got that question, because I don't know, but it reminded me of a quote that I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger in his book. He said that I don't know if doing this is getting me closer,
Okay.
but I know that doing this is not holding me back.
Okay.
So I might not get closer to the goal by his goals were obviously getting huge as fuck and then being the biggest movie star on the planet and then going into being a governor. So he great guy.
Got pretty close, actually.
Huh?
Got pretty close.
He did become the governor.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but he talks about he's not sure that 100 push-ups would get him to become Mr. Olympia, but it sure wouldn't hurt.
Sure.
And I am sure that a lot of the habits we talk about does not hurt on your way to become a millionaire. I am not a millionaire, shocker.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what they do. But if you listen to them, if you study them, they are talking about some of the same things we are.
Yeah, sure.
And if you just implement having a morning routine,
Yeah.
getting up a little bit earlier, don't hate me, planning ahead, maybe having a little bit of a diet, do some exercises. I'm just spitballing
Yeah.
easy implementations right now. These things are not going to hold you back from becoming a millionaire.
Yeah. Actually, I'm reading also a book from Scott Galloway. He's not sure if it's really a millionaire, but anyway, he works a lot like in economics. He has a very cool podcast, by the way. And he was talking about similar things. For example, like at the basis, also, you know, it's not only about money, but just become like successful or anyway reach some higher level in your life. At the basis, also like some kind of basic principles that they are the ones that we also discussed today. So also just the fact that you kind of control like your impulses, you know, so by planning, for example, you know, so you can control a bit your life again with good planning, with without you know, overspending, for example, or things like that. That the core, or also on the bottom line, also the values you have, your character, that the elements that they don't bring you automatically, for example, if you want to become a millionaire, money, but they are the core foundation to become successful. And eventually, yes, if you have the right luck, yeah, to get at that point. And the bottom line is really these basic elements that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's this famous story about the 1 minute mile. Do you know that one?
Not sure.
So for ever, running 1 mile under 1 minute was impossible. Like nobody has ever done it.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly when this was then done. Spoiler alert. But nobody thought it was possible for a human being physically to run 1 mile in 1 minute. And then in the 80s or 90s, I feel like saying, some guy, and he's famous, I'm sorry I don't know the name, he did it. He ran 1 mile in under a minute, and he became famous for it. Not 1 month after, 16 have done it. And a year after, 1600 have done it. It's the same story with Mount Everest. Nobody had climbed Mount Everest. And then one guy is successfully doing it.
Yeah.
Not 1 month later, 20 people have done it. The next year, 100, 200. So the thing is, as Tony Robbins says, there are patterns. Success creates patterns. And I'm not saying that I know all the patterns. If we did, we would be like every other coach out there. We are just ordinary guys who've been through something and who've learned a lot. That's why we think we can do a difference. But there are certain patterns. And I'm not saying you need to read a lot. I'm not saying you need to see all the TED Talks. But the best of the people out there, they don't keep it a secret. And Tony also says that you overestimate what you can do in a year. Like you think in your mind that you could get way farther ahead in 1 year's time. And you underestimate what you can do in 2 or 3 decades. And this is, if you haven't seen his documentary on Netflix, I would recommend it as the very next thing you see after this. It's called I Am Not Your Guru, and Tony just takes you through his seminar for, I think it's 6 or 7 days, where he has people, and he talks exactly about this. So give that a shot for that question, yeah. Yeah. We got a new one from my guy. By the way, just for everybody listening, Big Simmer is one of my best friends out there. He has literally provided me with enough support, kicks in the ass, and I cannot tell you to trust myself in this process. So a big thank you. Okay, the question. What type of media would you recommend to consume? Seems like many people get distracted by TikTok, which prevents them from acting on their visions. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a good question. And
for me, for example, what works for me to stay focused, and I'm kind of struggling also because, also with social media, it's freaking addictive, and you kind of lose the ability to focus. But for me, what kind of drives my focus is absolutely reading. So you completely forget all the inputs, and it brings you knowledge in a way that I think other media don't. At least my experience. So for me, that's the number one, to get either knowledge but also focus, to have these kind of minutes of deep concentration that you don't really find on social media. Other ways, you can still find anyway knowledge in YouTube or all the channels. There are like elements of knowledge. That the problem sometimes is like it's a bit too much, and it's difficult to retain the knowledge unless it's very powerful, but tends to kind of go down. Recently, I got an offer for a masterclass, so I subscribed to that also, and it's also like
that's a webpage.
But I'm sure you heard about it. Masterclass, they have a lot of like instructor, which are like famous people famous or that reach some success in their somehow their path, their branch. So if you like writing, you find some famous writers like Neil Gaiman or Stephen King, I guess, is also masterclass, something like that. If you like, for example, journalism, you find some great, cool journalists out there. If you like, we were following also a masterclass from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. Also, he kind of break down his book, and I think that could be also a good way. I don't mean like to subscribe necessarily to masterclass, but to find this kind of platform that can provide knowledge and filter all the clutter from everything else. Because if you stay on Instagram, only on YouTube or TikTok, it's so easy to get distracted and go to the next.
Yeah, I think a big one to remember for everybody out there is that it doesn't have to cost money.
Yeah.
And even though I'm a big fan of also finding motivation or knowledge on TikTok or on Instagram, I follow a lot of great people, I also find myself being distracted. And it's not necessarily because of commercials, but it's because of all the other content. And a big one also on social media is that everybody can post everything. So you have to take everything you read with a grain of salt.
Yeah, true.
It might actually not be the exact case. And what you talk about with reading, I think that's a big one. I'm not, again, don't hate me when I say you should read a book, but reading reading does one thing. It makes you like it forces you to only look one place. Yeah.
It's so boring in this kind of like moment we are living, where everything you keep getting messages, everything is colorful and fast. Reading is so boring. It really takes some extra effort, but that effort it's also what gives you better information retention. Effort it's awarded by better information. If you, this cheap information like that you get from other sources is like eating really McDonald's. It's like cheap, but also you don't get really good nutrients, I feel, in my opinion.
And if you don't want to read, I don't blame you. I only picked up reading as a habit 5 years ago now, and I'm 28. So I didn't read for my entire life, and I shit you not, I did not read in my educational way at all. So there's another one, and that would be, I would say, podcasts. And some would say audiobooks, so you don't have to read necessarily.
Yeah.
And the thing that podcasts or audiobooks do is that they also close your attention.
Yeah, yes.
And with audiobooks and all this, you can still see things, so you still get some things in your brain, but you are mentally listening and being aware of something else. And when you are on a audiobook or a podcast, you can't scroll, because then you'll
have to
detach
follow
from it, right?
through,
Yeah. So that means that you actually have to listen when you play.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also a big one.
That's a good one. Yeah, right.
But you can find it for free. We're going over time, but is that alright with you? Just keeping on.
Yeah,
for 10 minutes or so?
yeah. We just finished this question.
But when I was younger, and I wanted to change the way that my life was going, and you can find all my videos right now doing a lot of this, talking about a lot of the things I've been through in high school or the gymnasium or whatever. I went to YouTube. YouTube is free, and I just found people who had gone through similar things, people who wanted to coach or teach or inspire people in terms of getting confidence, fashion style, how to walk, how to talk, all these things, right?
Yes.
So you don't need to spend a lot of money on it.
No, of course, yeah. Fortunately, right now it's like a lot of information is so available. Like, for example, recently I was watching these videos about like luxury, this kind of world that I have no idea about it, and I was kind of wondering, how, like, it's amazing that you even find this kind of information that are completely far away from you at the moment, but you can still reach them for free. It was on YouTube, for example. By the way, also, like you mentioned, like audiobooks or podcasts, exactly, like that's, for example, my experience or your experience, Alex. It's not that it's the absolute truth. Of course, you can also watch YouTube if it works for you, or listen to audiobooks if it works better. I mean, you don't have to actually stick to one. Just find also like what it works for you. My opinion, exactly, you should anyway try to isolate yourself or isolate the information from everything else. So that's why we pick them.
Yeah.
Those, but
so that's a lot of different ways you can find all this.
Yeah.
And to Mickey, I saw your comment. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much. Those are the things that make us also feel like we are actually doing the right thing. So appreciate it very much. We did get one more question before we started today from a friend of mine who asked. So this friend I met recently, and she stumbled upon at Astra on Instagram, asking why. Because the first thing we did was to say that we are helping out young men getting confidence, finding purpose in everyday life. We're helping young leaders creating high performance teams the healthy way, right? So it's very limiting. And the reason why, at least the reason for myself, was that those were the things I went through. I have been a young man. Some would say I still am. Thank you. And that means that I thought that the things I can coach and I can teach and I can talk about would only be the things that I myself back in the day would relate to. So I got the question, why do we only want to help and coach young men? Why not women? Why not grown-ups? Why not different populations? And it's a good question, and I thanked her so much for bringing that up, because it also made us realize, and you made me realize also just by asking me to do all this, right?
Why not?
Yeah, it made me realize that even though I have only been a young man before, what my stories can do is inspire and be relatable for everyone.
Yeah, sure.
It may not be the exact same things, but as long as everybody can get something out, of course it also has to be for women and for grown-ups.
I call it more like a template, you can use it also for your benefit, and it doesn't matter exactly. So the man thing is just because it's more like a direct connection, because coming also from a direct experience, it's easier maybe to relate to someone that went to the same kind of struggle, the same situations, but it's also a template that everybody can use, and girls as well in a different way, but in the end we all want to kind of reach some kind of goal or overcome some struggles. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not meant to be close-minded, but just anyway, just an open door for everybody.
Yeah, everybody tells you, if you ask the experts, how do I start a business and how do I find my persona and all that, and people would say, you have to find your niche. You have to find the little group, like
you have
personal
to
group.
You have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we also thought was the right thing to do when we started this way. But we've come to see that the population and the groups we want to help is not young men, like young men, whatever. It is still something this group have in common, and that thing is they want more. That's it.
Unleash the potential.
Yeah. I think Tony Robbins had that copyrighted though.
Okay.
But
no, oh my God,
but
I
that's
just
the
improvised.
that is the only thing that we need to have in common for this to actually mean something for you. You want more, more in life. That's the.
Maybe I should ask Tony Robbins to pay me for copyright just because it's no.
Yeah. I think if you ask him, it's gonna be the other way. Yeah. All right. I think that more or less.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Sums it up. Yeah.
Well, thank you for those that follow through. We thought to make it like 1 hour long. I don't know exactly. Just be open with feedbacks. Maybe we can make it shorter. We can answer. You can also ask questions beforehand, so we can prepare some kind of also appointments where we answer specifically some question we collect. I don't know. It's just a format we are experimenting, and well, thank you for following through. And
and thank you for this, like spending some time of your Valentine's Day with us.
Yeah.
Lorenzo was my date. I hope that yours is equally as beautiful. And hi man. And I think we'll wrap it up here. So thank you very much for following along, and feel free to follow also in the group afterwards or in the page. We are also on TikTok, and we'll soon be also on YouTube. And
Per Astra ad Astra.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.